Hey, it's Chad with Drawn and Cornered. It is August 27th, Friday, and this is a rough day. We're going to try and get into it and through it as much as possible, but it is we have gone from the theoretical to the practical, and even the theoretical had a lot of elements that were troubling. But to get into it, so yesterday, outside of Hamid Karzai International Airport, where all of the evacuations are attempting to occur. The Americans have pulled inside the airport, apparently incapable of getting out into the populace to actually get Americans in and out, or Afghan allies in and out. The Taliban has surrounded the airport, essentially is controlling security outside the airport, has been asked to control security outside the airport by the Biden administration. Somehow failed in their mission. ISIS got through. 2 suicide bombers killed 12 Marines, a corpsman, maybe 13 Marines and a corpsman. Numbers are a little sketchy. And 40 to 90 Afghan allies or Afghans on the ground there. It is a devastating hit. It has also completely shut down evacuations. Apparently the Americans are welding the doors shut. That's it. That's 1,000 or more Americans that are going to be abandoned in there. And all of this language that has been going for the last week, talking about how terrible Biden's moves have been in facilitating this withdrawal, became abundantly clear yesterday as we lost lives. The deadliest day for American service members in Afghanistan since 2011, and the second deadliest day since 2005. We're talking just astronomical amounts of failure on this one, and it is now hitting home in a very real way because Americans are dead. Not just the theoretical Americans that might be lost there, the possibility of bad things happening, like bad things are happening now, and it's 100% tied to Joe Biden and his policies around this withdrawal. Like, whether or not you want to have the argument about whether we should withdraw, totally different. The manner by which this withdrawal is occurring is absurd on every level, and is indicative of a continuing failure in foreign policy for Joe Biden. He's been wrong on everything before. He continues to be wrong. The amazing thing is that time after time after time during the course of this withdrawal conversation and the moves that they could make, and if they could go left or right, every time Joe Biden is picking the wrong direction and his admin is picking the wrong direction. They are lying to the American people about how it's going, what they're doing, what they're not doing. It's an abomination, and frankly, it should have been something that people were angry about before. It absolutely must be something people are angry about now, as we're losing service members and abandoning, again, close to 1,000, 1,500, possibly far higher than that, Americans in Afghanistan to essentially become hostages to the Taliban, Al-Qaeda, ISIS-K. All of these things are major issues. Couple that with, and remember, Joe Biden is the empathetic president. He is the one who feels for you, the one who understands what you're going through. Like, his big running point, the thing that separated him from Donald Trump, was that he was so empathetic, that he was so caring and concerned, and just an everyman when it came to having a heart. Last night, he delivered one of the worst press conferences that has ever occurred from an American president, ever. Like, all-time worst press conferences on the day that 12, 13, 14 service members were killed in Afghanistan. He comes out, talks about the successes of the withdrawal and how great it was, how there were things that couldn't be done, accepted responsibility, and then almost immediately pushed responsibility to other factors. He is still defaulting to the Taliban for security, says that we are going to hunt down the people responsible for this. I don't know how he expects that to happen as he withdraws everybody from Afghanistan. Are we just going to mail it over or hope the Taliban follows up on it? The amount of gaslighting that occurred in last night's press conference was unheard of. And I know people talked about Trump being a major issue on that. Nothing remotely close to what we saw last night. I mean, Trump had his foibles, had his problems, had major issues in a variety of categories. Nothing comes close to what happened with Joe Biden last night. Then you add to that his opening of questions to the press and the way that he's dealing with them, joking with the press corps and Peter Doocy from Fox News about, oh, you're the most interesting person in the press that I could talk to. Just the cavalier absurdity of it, and not having any idea how to read the room, or the understanding that this is on him. Like there is no shame, there is no guilt, there is no sorrow there. I know that we have talked endlessly about the card that Joe Biden carries in his pocket of U.S. service members killed in Iraq and Afghanistan. Apparently, that's all garbage, because he doesn't feel for any of those. Those were people that he could blame on other people. Now, he's got 12 to 14 service members and dozens of Afghans on his death list, on his death card. And I don't think he's even ready to own that. I don't know that he's even cognizant of the fact that those belong to him. And I don't mean in a way like, it sucks. It's a hard situation. War sucks. It's brutal. This is a choice he made. He is the one who put this situation in place to degrade to the level that is just god awful. And every time he had a decision to improve or degrade it, he's degrading it. He's making it worse. He's trusting people that should not be trusted in the Taliban. He is making moves. Here's a great indicator. NATO gets together, our allies get together and say, hey, we don't have enough time to get all of our people out. The British, the French are going out into the populace to retrieve their people, something that even Americans won't do. They're going out to make sure that they can get their people out. And they go to Joe Biden and say, hey, we need a little bit more time. Can you push that deadline so we can get our people out? Joe Biden, because he doesn't want to offend the Taliban, says no to some of our greatest allies. And Parliament for the UK has said they will not deal with any more treaties with America under this administration. They're done. It's over. I remember the days when we talked about how much Trump was spitting in our allies' eyes and not doing the things that would make them want to come along with us, because he was holding their feet to the fire when it came to financial support for NATO. We have Joe Biden taking Taliban's side over the UK, over the French, over Germany, over the Canadians. He's telling them, you don't matter as much to me as the Taliban does. Think about what that is. Like, and again, I don't want to say it's malice. I don't think it's malice from Joe Biden. I don't think he specifically wants to be a terrorist or wants the downfall of America or to screw you to the NATO allies. He just values this talking point so much. He wants so badly to be the president that gets us out of Afghanistan and to have that bright shining medal to hang around his neck when it comes to 22 and 24, that he's willing to sacrifice anything to make it happen. And the reason for that is because everything else that he's been doing has gone so outstandingly badly. COVID, terrible. And again, we can talk about Trump's issues there and the things that he did for COVID. Joe Biden has owned COVID. He said he has the way to stop COVID. He is the one who can bring it down, and still has not been able to do it. That's a problem. The border, that's a problem. So many issues that he complained about Trump when it came to the border, he's putting back in place. They put the stay in place back in Mexico because that's the better plan. And he's leaving it in place. This is the issue with Joe Biden's policies, is they may sound good. In practical sense, they're awful. And this is what people said about Joe Biden when he was being elected. This is the complaint about Joe Biden, is that he's got all these great high-flying ideas. He seems empathetic. He seems like he's on our side, and he's not, because the practical application of these policies is garbage. And there's no better indicator of that than what is going on in Afghanistan, which belongs to Joe Biden, belongs to him wholly. And he is unwilling to accept that capability, is unwilling to take that on his shoulders and say, hey, now we need to do something. Again, how much easier or how much more important would it have been for him to come out last night and been like, this is what happened. We had Americans that were killed. It was because of the Taliban. We're done. We thought we were evacuating. We are going out there. We will bring forth everybody who made this happen. Like, you cannot kill Americans and expect that any deal is going to stay in place, that we're going to be nice about it. Like, we're done. That's it. Like, we are bringing the full weight of the American military down upon your heads again. And I get it. That's getting us back into the war. Exactly what he doesn't want to do. But because you sucked, that's what happens. You are the one who created the situation where that war needs to begin again. And instead of that, you're going to tuck tail and run, making it even worse. Again, any opportunity to make it better or make it worse, Joe Biden is taking the worst track. And it's going to have long-term repercussions. You're going to see China emboldened when it comes to Taiwan. You're going to see Russia emboldened. You're going to see everybody in the region all of a sudden go, the Americans aren't going to provide security, aren't going to help us out. The minute that Joe Biden decides that he wants to get out of here or create a campaign ad for 22 or 24, we are toast. And nobody works with us anymore. This is going to be long-term. This is going to be a problem. Our NATO allies, people that have been staunch advocates for us and with us for a century, done. It's over. We have no cachet with them anymore. We have no rapport. We have no ability to pull in like minds because we are hosing them as we speak, and not just hosing them in a kind of a financial way with NATO or hosing them in diplomatic ways. Like legitimately, their people are stranded because of choices that Joe Biden is making, and we're not going to be able to repair this. That's just one part of it. Yesterday fell down on so many other ways. The moratorium that Joe Biden put back in place that he knew was unconstitutional when he put back in place, which by the way is an impeachable offense, that is legitimately doing things that are unconstitutional. He said it was unconstitutional or probably unconstitutional when he gave the speech about it. But the moratorium on rent that was put back in place, the Supreme Court said that's unconstitutional and you can't do that. CDC can't mandate moratoriums on rent, so you're done. It's over. Thus looking like more and more people are going to be put out. Maybe 7 million, I think, could be tossed out of their homes. I'm guessing that number is probably a lot lower. Those are people that could be tossed out of their homes, not people that must be tossed out of their homes. 89% of rental assistance has still not been delivered. So probably a great deal of that, 90% of it, could be handled if we just got that money out to the people that it belonged to. Still not happening. Joe Biden's admin is just totally tanked. Meanwhile, we've got $5 trillion in spending that is running through the House and the Senate. I just, when you talk about failures of leadership, it can't get any more stark than what happened yesterday. And maybe we'll see even more of it today. It's just, it's abysmal. I think the American people should be hurting. I don't know what happens from here. It's a really bad Friday. It's a really bad Thursday. With any luck, somebody in that administration will step up and take over and push better ideas for all the problems that Trump had with ego and narcissism and just saying and doing outrageous things. The people around him kept him in check, and made sure that the worst tendencies that he had weren't acted upon. And again, maybe he was a madman, but his policies made sense and his policies worked. Joe Biden may be the greatest guy in the world, but his policies, absolute garbage. And I don't see how after the last few days, after the last week, you could argue against that in any reasonable or meaningful fashion without being a blatant ideologue. Thank you for watching. I know it's not fun, not great, but that's what it is today. So again, thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Subscribe to the channel. We will be getting back to you maybe over the weekend, depending on what breaks loose, or next Monday for sure. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you soon.